Hey, what's going on, guys? Meteorologist Jonathan Kegges with you. We are talking about the snow. Of course, it is coming down pretty heavy along the I-80 corridor right around North Platte, the panhandle of Nebraska, eastern Colorado. That's where we have the heavy snow right now. This is sliding up into Valentine, and we have some heavy rain on the warm side of this system as well. This is going to continue to impact places like Missouri, eastern Kansas, and then, of course, we had that severe weather threat trying to ramp up just a little bit. We're not talking about a widespread severe weather outbreak. I don't think today it's going to be a little bit lower, the threat would be, than what we've seen over the past couple of times we've been under the gun in the Deep South. Still something to pay very, very close attention to over the next several hours. We're going to go hour by hour. I'll be with you until about 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, 6:30 Mountain, and 5:30 Pacific time for about the next hour, give or take. So let me know where you are tuning in from. Post that in the comments. If you're from Nebraska or from Colorado or from South Dakota where you're being impacted, let me know. Hey, SFJ Squad, good to see you again. Hope you are doing well on this, what is it, Wednesday morning now? All these days are running together. All right, we're taking a live look also up top of the screen above my head. This is going to be Interstate 80, the Hershey Gate camera. So we're about, let me pull out the telestrator. I'll show you where that is, give or take, on I-90. Hey, Brock's Adventure, what's going on, my friend? Headed to Minnesota today in a semi. Will you get hit with any snow? Where are you leaving from? Let me know where you're traveling from, and then I will be able to help you a little bit more on that. That camera is right about right here, by the way, where that just drew that X. X marks the spot. And I'll get that telestration off so you can see the snow map there. But the heaviest stuff now through Nebraska, I'll pull out to show you kind of the wide view here. So right now, Minnesota is dry. Iowa is dry completely. The heaviest rain moving into Missouri, moving through Oklahoma City, maybe even some thunder right and around downtown Oklahoma City. Leaving from Indiana, going up I-39 to I-94. I think you're going to be okay. I'm going to show you we'll switch gears, and I'm going to show you the future radar here to kind of give you some perspective. So if you leave now, this is going to be at 7 a.m., give or take. So we're going to fast forward. We don't get snow towards I-94. This is 7 o'clock tonight. So 7 o'clock tonight, we still don't have the rain and snow. Let me pull up the telestration again. So what I-94 is about right in here. So we just have the moisture arriving into Madison, Wisconsin at about 7 o'clock tonight. And other than just a few flurries towards the I-94 corridor, things are still looking good as of 7 p.m. tonight. It looks like you won't start having issues, minor issues at that, until about 8 or 9 o'clock this evening. And then the heaviest stuff doesn't arrive until like around midnight, give or take. So just looking at this at a glance, I think you're going to be okay. Because how long is that drive? I don't even know. It'll probably take I'm not sure what it would be in a semi, but I don't see things becoming problematic along I-94. Gosh, until 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock tonight, and that's going to be on the Wisconsin side. You might already be through that, I'm thinking. How is the rain coming down for Little Rock, Arkansas? I'm going to pull up the radar. We're going to go check in on Little Rock. Here is the rain right now. So we have a few little thunderstorms just to our west specifically. Here's what could be coming through right where you are into Little Rock. There's some of that heavier rain. Again, maybe rumble of thunder with these. And then most of the stuff is kind of lifting to your west, just to the west of Little Rock, and then moving towards I-40. So you have these little guys bubbling up here. There was some of the rain you might have just dealt with in and around Little Rock, and then we have these other cells kind of popping here. I'll show you future radar in just 1 second to get you through some of those storms in and around Little Rock. And again, if you're just joining us, above my head is a look at I-80 in Nebraska, right around North Platte. All right, 8.5-hour drive. So let's see. If you get there now, let me do some math in my head. I'm trying to guzzle down some coffee so that my brain works this morning. 8.5-hour drive. That would put you in. I think you're going to be okay. Because, 12 hours would get you there at like 6 p.m. So I think you're gonna beat all of this stuff. You might even beat the rain through Illinois as well. Let me just pull this back. Look at all that heavy rain going down I-44 through Springfield, Missouri, Joplin, Missouri. Really heavy stuff. Nothing strong, nothing severe there, but just some really heavy stuff. I think you're going to be okay. I think you're going to be dry through Illinois. You might start to see some flurries towards the end of your trip, like towards the Twin Cities area. That's about it. I think you beat the heavy stuff. And then tomorrow on the return trip, it's going to be snowing in the Twin Cities in Wisconsin early. There's 9 o'clock in the morning. Let me change my view here so we can see the wide view. And then this kind of winds down, and then there's like, that'll lighten up, and then there's 2 o'clock in the afternoon Central Time. So things I think are going to be looking pretty good, especially for your trip there. Maybe coming back a little more on the dicey side with some snow wrapping up early tomorrow afternoon. All right, so what we're going to do here, we're going to take you hour by hour now again. North Platte, I have you pretty much as the bullseye of this storm, right through central Nebraska, right on through here, really from northeast Colorado into this area. Hey, Darren, what's going on in New Brunswick? You're going to have a couple of storms coming your way over the next week or so. It's too early to tell, though, if they're all going to be snow. You got it, Brock's Adventures. Be safe out there, my friend. Safe travels, as always. Good to see you back on the live stream again. Darren's going to have some snow, I think. Let's see. We can go out a little bit. Yeah, so this first one looks like it might be cold enough, especially northern New Brunswick. Is that on the screen? Let me see. I think that's on the screen. Northern Maine, northern New Brunswick. This storm would be Monday, January 22nd. So the Northeast is going to be interesting. And then there's that secondary one that still brings snow to northern New Brunswick. Coastal New Brunswick on the sound side there. That's where we're going to have some questions. I don't know that we can get all that cold air down into southern part, so I'm not sure what part. Well, you said St. John. Duh. See, have not had enough coffee this morning. If you are just joining us, I'm meteorologist Jonathan Kegges. We talk and track all things weather. We are tracking this snowstorm. If you like talking and tracking the weather or just want to stay informed, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Certainly, if you are enjoying the conversation, the weather conversation we are having today, give it that thumbs up. It'll send this out to more people. We can give them kind of a heads up on where kind of the ugly weather is happening right now. And we certainly have a winter weather wonderland. Again, the coffee's not kicked in yet, so I apologize if my words are not coming together. But right now, some heavy, heavy snow around Scottsbluff, moving into Valentine, Nebraska. Certainly north of Kearney is where we have the heaviest stuff. Hey, Weather Watcher, good to see you. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Good work as always to you as well. There's where we have the heavy rain right now. Last storm was all rain and freezing rain for 5 days. I don't know. I don't think you were with us. We were talking about that one. I think on Saturday we were live. I think that's whenever Nova Scotia and New Brunswick were just getting slammed with heavy rain and heavy freezing rain. It's a heck of a drug, man. It's good stuff. Hey, Storm Boys, good to see you again. What about Ohio today? Let's tune into Ohio. We're going to scroll over. Right now, we are nice and dry. Where's my telestrator? Warm fronts extended right about through here. We have the heavy rain in parts of southern Illinois now, moving up from Missouri, kind of moving in your direction in Ohio. Let me show you the future radar for Ohio. I don't know if I have that pulled up, so you might need to change the sector. I got a lot of stuff pulled up. Let me do some changing around here. Give me 2 seconds. Yeah, it does look like that. It does look like there's like a teeny tiny severe weather threat up there. All right, so let me get into Ohio so I can time this out. Ohio. Hey, Celeste, good morning. That was one of the things I was worried about early on this morning. Hopefully they're all staying elevated and that they don't become surface-based. Because you were dealing with that ugly stuff. I know, we got to get you some snow if you're a fan of the snow. All right, so here we go, taking a look at Ohio. That is the snowfall. We are not going to get snowfall. We need the simulated radar. So there comes the heavy rain like through Columbus. This isn't, most of today is dry in Ohio, okay? So this is going to be now looking at about 7 o'clock in the evening. We have a few stray showers in and around Columbus. The steady stuff pushes through Cincinnati. And then this is 9 o'clock tonight. Most of this stuff for you comes in late tonight and overnight for Ohio. It's a lot of heavy rain, though. And then this is the severe weather threat that Weather Watcher was kind of alluding to for tomorrow. We get this like little appendage sliding through. Look at this. This is kind of ugly. So this is going to be now for tomorrow afternoon. This is 4 o'clock Eastern time. Whoa, my telestration's everywhere. We're going to watch for some strong thunderstorms here. And then pushing into Cleveland and then into western Pennsylvania. So kind of a gnarly afternoon and evening tomorrow potential for Ohio. We'll check in on one of those cells in a little bit. Hey, Ethan, what's going on, man? Florida looking pretty good. We are going to be, what's today? Today is Wednesday. We're back to around 80 degrees today. And things are how they should be in Florida now. All right, Toronto is going to get some. I do think so. Let me pull this out wide again. I think, sorry, as I bounce around, I've got like 4 million tabs open. It's one of my things here is I've got 4 million tabs open. So here you go. When we were talking last night in the chat, or in the comments section, this is going to be now Monday. Now, for anyone that's just joining, I know there's a lot of rumblings about a big storm coming to the I-95 corridor. I'm confident that we're going to get a storm, maybe 2, but I don't know if they're going to be snow just yet along I-95. It looks like this may focus the cold on interior New England and in the interior Northeast. So that's going to be good for our friend in Toronto. Let's check this out here. This is Monday. This is Storm 1 and some pretty decent snow around Toronto. And then there's storm number 2, which may end up, if that track holds there. So I think what has been a pretty lame winter in Toronto and really for a lot of the Northeast is going to change. The 95 corridor is still the one in question. I'm going to get back to the radar real quick. Might have a few little nasty things happening here. Let's see. So if you watched yesterday's video, and I hope you did, we talked about that I didn't like that the high-res radar was putting kidney bean-shaped storms here in the morning, these discrete supercells, and that's what we are seeing pop here in extreme eastern Texas. So we're going to watch these closely. We're going to continue to keep an eye on this for the Shreveport area, for Texarkana, for Southwest Arkansas. So that's what we're going to notice early on, or pay attention to for an early start to the severe weather threat. You never and this is exactly what happened last week. I still don't think to the degree of what we saw towards towards Selma, Alabama last week. Certainly, I don't think we're going to see anything like that. But that's what happens when you get these cells and the environment's kind of juiced. They can take all of the ingredients for themselves and kind of thrive a little bit. So we're going to watch that in extreme northeast Texas. Central Texas, we're just getting some cold rain. Very heavy rain, nothing severe, though, through Oklahoma City. Look at all this heavy rain in towards Joplin, Springfield. Very heavy rain coming down to the I-44 area up towards St. Louis. If you're tuning in for the snow, what I have above my head here, that picture, that's a look at I-80. That's going to be the Hershey exit. This is in Nebraska, right around North Platte. So that sky cam or that traffic cam that we are taking a live look at is right in here, right around I-80. I know there's some road closures already. I-80 is still open, but Highway 30 looks like there was a closure. Let's see here. We just had a storm report pop up. Let's check it out. Look at that. Already 7 inches of snow. This is right around Sydney, Wyoming. And again, that's pretty much right on the money with what we were thinking in terms of the snowfall. I'm sorry, did I just say Sydney, Wyoming? Sydney, Nebraska. Is anybody tuning in from Nebraska or South Dakota or Colorado or Iowa? Because we can take a look at some of that snow there. Post in the comments where you are watching from, where you're tuning in from early on this Wednesday morning as we watch this heavy rain threat roll forward. Let's back this up, go hour by hour. So most of the day, again, it's going to be fine until we get to the evening commute. In last night's video, I highlighted that it was going to be an ugly evening commute. Not there where the X is. Obviously, still through the main event area. Look at all that heavy snow, that dark blue there through Iowa. Right on the cusp now of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And then it kind of pivots up into Minnesota. So our worst stuff, in Minnesota comes in late tonight and then overnight. That's 4 o'clock in the morning. Got to change my stream back to the model. Let me add. Yep, it is just about 5 a.m. in Nebraska, at least 5 a.m. Mountain Time over there. 6 a.m. Central Time. But I think you're going to get some. I think you at least have the best shot of snow that you've seen in Toronto in quite some time. Let's go look at, this is the latest now high-resolution radar, high-resolution snowfall forecast. Still in line with what my official forecast was. I say official forecast, at least my interpretation of this snow event. But with the bullseye coming in right around North Platte, I had 8 to 16 inches in this area. I think some places in that, right through central Nebraska are certainly going to overachieve that number. According to this, I'm highlighting this. I can just bring that up and show you. So that's what I had last night. Let me try to get this into the window. Hey, what's going on? Good to see you. Welcome to the live stream. They could be. So we're watching that closely. The good thing is that there's not a ton of instability here, and they are getting kind of strung out. So rather than consolidating, they're getting strung out, meaning that there is probably too much wind shear, not enough instability to sustain those guys. And that's great. You are right on time. We started this live stream about, 25 minutes ago, right about 7:30 Eastern Time, 6:30 Central, 5:30 Mountain. Let me know what you're interested in. I cannot remember where you're interested in. Celeste, if I forgot to pull you over, I'm sorry. Good morning and welcome to the live stream. I hope it's a little bit warmer in Jamaica anyway. It's been chilly down there. It's been chilly for us in the Caribbean, for sure. If you are just joining us, please give this a thumbs up. It does help us out a lot. It lets this stream get out to more people on YouTube so that we can give them a heads up of what is coming in our direction. If you're finding us for the first time, I would love to know if you are finding the channel for the first time. And if you do love the conversation we're having and like talking and tracking the weather, we'll love it if you hit that subscribe button. Hope you have a great day as well. And again, we're going to keep you posted on that snow in the Toronto area with those two systems moving into southeast Canada and the northeastern portion of the United States. So I don't know that it's completely game on just yet, but there's going to be storms there as well. The EPO is getting weird for January. I've not looked at the EPO. Let me see what it is saying. The EPO is a weird one. A lot of people think it just needs to be negative for snow in the Northeast. But that's not necessarily the case because you need the ridge to be in the West. It's more about the PNA. So I'm not sure where you're looking for, I should say, like what part of the country. And then I'll be able to, because I mean, it does have other ramifications for like Pacific Northwest, things like that. I would assume, I mean, it kind of bounces all over the place. Positive to negative to positive. That might be what you're referring to. See, and it does look like it stays negative. I don't know how many people are here for some of the Northeast conversation, and we're going to have much more of the conversation on the Northeast portion over the next couple of days and through the weekend. Okay, Missouri, that's right. Now I remember. Thank you for that refresher. So for Missouri, I think you're setting up much better for the EPO to impact you with a snowstorm. I still am not 100% on board that we're going to get crushed in the I-95 corridor. There are some things there through I-95 if you are interested in the snowstorm that's getting a lot of buzz or the potential snowstorm there. I do think we're going to have the likelihood of two storms develop. The 22nd, 23rd, and then like 25th, 26th, two in that realm. We're going to get back into the active northeast pattern after we kind of like stole the show in California for about the last month. But I'll kind of show you that here. And this is kind of like that negative EPO right here. This dip in the debt is way too big. That right here, because that puts the ridge kind of straddling the west coast of the United States. If you want snow in the east, you want this ridge right about here. I know it's subtle, but it makes a big difference because now you have the storm coming out of here and then likely cutting inland. If you have that ridge right here, it's the Boise Ridge because we basically have that ridge right over Boise, Idaho. You get the storms to kind of develop here and then work their way in this direction, and then it blasts the I-95 corridor. It is absolutely like a train track. So the point I'm trying to make about Missouri is it has, I mean, and there's a couple of things here. Let me go to the surface. And again, I caution again to take this as the latest updated Euro here. So I've not really like dissected this. But it might be in just the wrong. This is that one, the 25th, 26th. Big storm here. Here's Missouri, of course. And then there's a lot of heavy snow through West Tennessee. Now, again, take that with a grain of salt. SPC added a tornado risk for Kansas today. And that is going to be with this junk here. That is going to be because of a new triple point. So we have our cold front right here. We have our warm front basically running right through here. So this is the warm sector thunderstorms. Then we have the main low pressure here, kind of right where it's occluding. I need my points. The occluded front. We're going to have another low develop right here through the afternoon, and that could help us get a little more spin in the atmosphere as this warm front drifts north, and then that's what's going to be able to give us that severe weather threat as all that moves forward into here. So that's what we'll be watching here for Kansas. And again, already off to kind of an ugly start as we do have discrete supercells. The good news is, though, again, we talked about this a little bit ago, they're being strung out like string beans. How they go up, they kind of look a little concerning, and then they kind of just turn almost like inchworms or whatever. How they're elongated, they never really get a chance to materialize. That's likely because we just don't have enough instability built up. So they go up, there's enough to get them going, and then the wind shear just kind of shears them apart. There's not enough oomph to kind of deal with the push. You need to have wind shear when you're talking about severe thunderstorms and tornadoes especially. But when there's too much of one and too little of the other, it's that Goldilocks scenario. It needs to be just right. If you have too much instability, not enough shear, they go up, they pulse up, and then they die. If you have too much shear, not enough instability, they'll go up, and then they'll be blown right over. And I think that's what we're seeing right here. Certainly, though, already not good that we're seeing discrete cells this early in the morning, although high-resolution future radar did hint at that, and it's done a very good job at hinting that. It caught pretty much that Selma tornado last week, not the actual tornado itself, but it had the idea that there would be 2 or 3 discrete supercells kind of riding right along that main line there, and we talked about that. If one was able to get out and take advantage of all of that instability and juice and wind shear, that it would be able to go. All right, so just looking here. And to welcome to everybody that's just joining us, let me know where you're tuning in from. If you're finding us for the first time, I would love to know about it. Please give this a thumbs up if you're enjoying the conversation today. If you enjoy talking and tracking the weather, you've come to the right place. Please consider subscribing. I'm meteorologist Jonathan Kegges, by the way. We're talking about the snowstorm and the severe weather threat in the Midwest and Deep South. If you have anything else you want to talk about, post that in the chat as well. We're also kind of dabbling into the, is that a word? I don't know. Again, the coffee hasn't hit. We're scratching the surface on the chatter of the Northeast snowstorm later on in the month, in that 25th, 26th time frame. We're going to be spending much more time on that over the next couple of days and everything like that. We're going to go check out your town because there was a ton of heavy rain moving into Missouri. Look at that. There it is right there. Really from St. Louis down I-44 into Springfield, Joplin, Branson. Super, super heavy rain here. So, I mean, it's not snow. It's not severe weather here in parts of Missouri. But it is very, very wet. It is very, very heavy, that rain. That heavy rain extends back into Kansas, Hutchinson, Salina, Emporia, closing in on the I-70 corridor. So south of Springfield. Geez, you're not kidding, my friend. Look at that. I mean, look at all that darker orange and red. There's a close-up view there. Just south of Springfield. Hey, what's going on, Jane? Good to see you. You getting ready for some snow up in Wisconsin? We'll pull this back out and take a look at where the snow is. That's awesome. So some very, very heavy rain falling right now. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And again, if you're finding us for the first time, I would love to know about it. Post that in the comments. And if you have any place that you want to check in on this morning, let me know in the comments as well. Where our main focus today is this snowstorm and then the severe weather threat that's coming a little bit later this afternoon in parts of the deep south. But you see where the heavy snow is. Absolutely. So a non-snow lover, James, welcome back to the stream. Forgive me. Where are you tuning in from again? I can't remember. Was it New Jersey? I could be way off on that. Could be way off. But let me know. All right, we have some more snow reports coming in. These are in real time when you see these little snowflake icons pop up on the radar screen here. So again, we checked this one a little earlier. 7 inches reported in Sydney. Tuning in from Ozark, the Jersey Shore. Okay, I thought it was New Jersey. Yeah, and I don't know, and I don't think it's going to be close for you, but honestly, like you said, it's just really, really hard to get that cold all the way down to the shore. Wisconsin, Jane, you're gearing up for some snow, at least depending upon what part. Hey, what's going on in Florence? Hope you are well after all of the severe weather that's moved through over the past couple of months. Hope you have not been impacted at all. So let's go back. I'll show you the future radar for Wisconsin. This is the future snow, I believe. Jane, I'm not sure what part of Wisconsin you're from. I apologize, but if you're dead center, I think this might be coming in a little hot. I think I had you closer to like 4 to 8 inches of snow. So these numbers might be a little hot here. But nonetheless, you're going to get some snow in Wisconsin. If you're like right through the heart, like north of Madison, like south of Wausau, northeast Wisconsin. All right, so you're game on for a great snowstorm there. I mean, maybe greater than 6 inches of snow. Like maybe like 6 to 10 inches of snow. Like closer towards Green Bay. The only really spots that like kind of miss out a little bit are going to be like the tip-top part of it as well. We're going to go back to the radar now. Check in on some of these reports are coming in like crazy as well. All right, we have a severe weather question, so we're going to get into that. We're going to go back to the high-resolution future radar. And let me change this from, okay. So the severe weather threat for Alabama kind of moves in overnight. So this is about midnight Central Time. There's that line of thunderstorms. Here's Birmingham. Here's Montgomery. And the good news is this line really weakens. We really aren't in the main severe weather threat today or tomorrow in Alabama. Thank God, it's been a long time, but we could have a few stray strong thunderstorms like west of Birmingham through Huntsville and then west of Montgomery. So I don't know if this is too zoomed out, but that is 2 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Central Time. This is 3 o'clock and then 4 o'clock, 5 a.m. tomorrow. That's Thursday now. And then there's 7. You see that line just kind of fall apart as it pushes to the east into Alabama. So really only talking about the extreme western side of Alabama being in a very low-grade severe weather threat, thankfully. Yeah, that's terrible. I'm hoping you can get a snow day. I'm hoping. I wish I could will that into existence. To all the new people that are just joining the stream, welcome. I'm meteorologist Jonathan Kegges. We talk and track all things weather. If you're new here and like talking and tracking the weather, please consider subscribing. And certainly if you're loving the conversation this morning, give it a thumbs up. Yeah, so, and that's one of the things I think, too, the last shot here, this is going to get back into a very typical La Nina pattern over the next several weeks. Okay, so I think what's going on here, I think what's going to be happening is that we're going to warm things up big time in the southeast, which may translate up the eastern seaboard. And then we're going to bring winter back into the northern plains, like a very typical La Nina setup, which should warm us up. So if you are rooting for snow in the northeast, this may be your last chance to get it along the I-95 corridor with this cold outbreak that's coming towards the end of January. First and foremost, we have a big blast of cold. Kind of see this big dip in the jet stream. This is going to be the 22nd, so places like Missouri, we're going to get cold. I don't know that it gives you snow. Hey, Lisa, thank you for that. I don't know that you get snow in Missouri out of this, but look at this. This basically here, when you see the blue and greens, these are lower than normal heights, okay? So what that means is that the heights are lower for the given temperature. When you see that blue and green, that means that we're likely going to see below normal temperatures, and significantly below normal temperatures, really through places like southern Minnesota, all the way out into West Tennessee, into Texas, up through the Mountain West, right in here. That's where winter is going to focus on as we shift towards like the week of the 22nd coming up, okay? I mentioned about the chance for a snowstorm. Now, I've not looked at some of the latest guidance, but just looking at some things last night, for a northeast snowstorm, you don't want lower than normal heights here. You want to have the block over Greenland. You want that to be beet red, because that means that we have that Greenland block that we so desperately need. And then also, the ridge, it's not in the right place. It's not in the right place. So there are already 2 red flags, at least for the first storm that could be happening. So that looks like it's going to certainly focus on the interior. Now, that secondary one, we do have that red kind of building back up here. We have a little bit more of that. Still, though, this ridge, I don't know if that's in the right place. I mean, I do know it's not in the right place. You want this to be a little bit further to the east. So there's a little more questions there. There are some makings of a snowstorm along the I-95 corridor. I just don't know that it's all there. Of course, if you live there, you know how warm it's been. So that's something, again, that we're going to focus on over the next couple of days is, do we have the right pattern? That's what you have to ask yourself. Hey, what's going on, Panda Wyatt? All right, we're going to check out Houston. We are going to head down to Houston. We're going to pull up the radar again and check in on what's going on in Houston. And right now, it is quiet. We have some downpours developing to the west of the city. We have to the west of the city. Let me pull this back up. Let's take a look at that radar, or the high-resolution future radar, if I can find it. So I think basically, Jane, just a few scattered thunderstorms. I don't think anything too crazy. It looks like most of the darker reds, and I know this is kind of a zoomed-out rendition here, but I think most of the nasty stuff is going to be like towards Lake Charles and Shreveport. I think for the most part, it's just going to be scattered storms, maybe an isolated shot for something stronger, but I think the main risk for severe weather today is going to be just to the north and then further up into here and then back up into Kansas. Look at all that heavy snow, though, on the cold side. Lincoln, Hastings, North Platte, getting rocked with some very heavy snow. Not very hopeful, extremely disappointing for southern snow. Okay, so for southern snow, obviously, it's just got to be right. Um, let's see. Your shot for any kind of southern snow, and especially for North Carolina, I assume that's what you mean. I think they might have a decent shot for some snow, like back into Arkansas, maybe northern Mississippi, west Tennessee, with one of these things coming down. But my my gut is saying no, just because this ridge is in the wrong place. You want that to be over here. We need to have that right there to send the cold down here, to have something kind of spin up and move in that direction to give us the good snow for North Carolina. So my gut's going to say no. And then, again, I think this is our last real shot. And then I think it's blowtorch maybe the rest of the winter. I got to look a little further into December. Into Park City. Let's see. I don't think I have Park City or Utah pulled up. Oh, there's a closer shot of Houston. And you kind of see that as well. That the darker reds indicating where the stronger thunderstorms could be are going to be northeast of Houston. At least from this rendition. So let's go to Utah. And let's check this out. Haha, that's funny. I love that. That's great. So it looks like not much. I think our snow is done. Oh, there's a nice little snowstorm coming in. This is going to be... So you see this little swirl here? This is going out to about the 20th. This is going to be that system that could charge up and then really slam interior New England as we get towards the 23rd, 24th. So this is like the snowstorm number 1 coming into view here. So as we get into like Thursday, Park City, Utah, getting in on that. And the Rockies also had a nice snow last night too. So that's good things all around. We want the snow in the Rockies. You want that. That'll help to fill up Lake Mead as well as it drains. Down the Colorado River as it snow melts and then drains, so that would be good. And then there's some good snow through Salt Lake City towards Park City. It certainly could. It looks strong. Let's take a look to see what... So this is one here, and again, a sneaky little snowstorm for places like Maine. With this, and this is what you would typically see in a La Nina here. It's typically wetter than normal, right on the western side of the Appalachian Mountains, and it's typically warmer down here, and then it's typically colder and snowier right here. Now, we haven't really unleashed the Clippers yet this year. We haven't really seen too many Alberta Clippers coming through because, again, really the last 3-4 weeks of winter have been the California train that sent everything into California. Now the jet stream is going to be more like that, which should send that cold and snow back down into the plains. So I think they'll get some snow. Salt Lake City is going to get some snow, I think, Thursday into Friday with this. So here's our little piece. So this is going to be on Thursday, and we have snow like eastern Nebraska, northern Arizona, western Wyoming. So that's kind of the piece here. That'll be moving through. So I think a decent snowstorm. I have not looked closely at Salt Lake City myself specifically, so I will do that whenever I get a second. But yeah, I think you're going to get some snow. At least Salt Lake's going to get some snow anyway out of the deal. This system that we are tracking now into Missouri, I do want to give a heads up to anybody for like upstate New York that might be tuning in, Vermont, New Hampshire, into Maine. This is that same system here. This is Friday the 18th. And see that snow there? There's our low. And we have snow even into coastal Maine, New Brunswick, Toronto, from that same system that's going to be moving through now. The secondary system is then this one, and this is where we could have a shot, number one, for a little bit of kind of southern snow anyway into Missouri, right in here. This is now January 21st into the early morning of the 22nd, and then moves through. But you'll notice again, and just like what our friend James from the Jersey Shore is saying, our low is right here. Notice all that green along the coast. I really think that we miss out the first time, certainly, on snow along the I-95 corridor. And then all questions are going to be on this one. The European blasted the 95 corridor last night with snow. It's back to rain. So again, this is my time for my little spiel of don't trust all those snow maps are going to be plastered over social media over the next few days, because there's going to be that windshield wiper effect. There's going to be the flip. You got to recognize the pattern here. So keep that in mind. We're going to be watching this one closely again for next like Wednesday, Thursday, 25th, 26th deal. But we have some things there, but not everything. So keep that in mind. If you are just joining us, welcome to the live stream. I'm meteorologist Jonathan Kegges. We talk and track all things weather. If you are a fan of the weather, love tracking it, love talking about it, you've come to the right place. Consider subscribing. We would love to have you. I love getting your weather reports all the time. So please subscribe. And if you are enjoying the conversation, at the very least, would love it if you give this a thumbs up so that YouTube pushes it out to more people. Here's the snow. That picture above my head there, that is a screenshot from I-80 in Nebraska around North Platte. This is the Hershey exit to be exact, covered in snow. So it's a mess out there to drive I-80. That was to be expected. Here we go with some of these snow reports coming through. Got a 2-inch report. Let me fast forward that all the way out. Let's see. We have 5 inches. 5 inches. Colorado Springs getting in about an inch. About 5 to 6. There's 7. About 7 inches in Colorado. Right around Denver. In that 5 to 7 inch ballpark. Hey, good morning in Northeast Pennsylvania. We're going to be under the gun for at least a couple of storms. Not 100% sure that it's going to be snow just yet. Heaviest rain right now. Look at all that heavy rain. Salina, Candace, Wichita, getting pounded with the heavy rain. Again, there's nothing severe. There's nothing damaging out here. It's just really, really heavy rain. Absolutely. No, and that's the main thing. And I believe the Atlantic up there is also above normal in the temperature department. So that's the other thing, too. When you get these areas in low pressure, when you get these areas of low pressure, that's their job, is to bring warm air to the north, cold air to the south. You need to have a cold source to offset that warmer air. You need high pressure there to really to battle that out. And I don't know that we have it in maximum capacity there for that storm to give you some snow on the Jersey Shore. So that'd be good for you since you don't like snow. Yes, I have been to Canyonlands. Great, great park. So underrated. My wife and I did a lot of hiking in the Needles district. We also went to Island in the Sky. Didn't make it to the other two because that one's really remote. But no, Canyonlands is fantastic. We took a trip out there. We went to all 5 in the same trip, and Capitol Reef, amazing. If you've never been, that one's kind of in the middle of nowhere. That one's harder to get to, but all that stuff. Love Utah. It's a great state if you haven't been. Darren, I don't have a cam pulled up in St. John. We can go take a look in that direction, though, for St. John. And here's kind of a zoomed in anyway of what your weather is looking like. And we have some snow to your north. Again, I think you're going to get in on some snow here. At least, well, you're kind of close to the sound. I take that back. Yeah, I do think you're going to get some snow. The way that this low goes off, And again, this helps because we don't have the blocking in play. So when there's no blocking, the storm just kind of rolls right off the eastern seaboard of the U.S., and that can keep some cold air in place rather than forcing that warmer air to the north. I never have, but I do if I'm ever asked about it, 100%. Wow, we can get into that as well because, the weather is extremely important in the Grand Canyon if you're hiking in that direction as well. We all know it, especially in the summer, but there's some crazy stuff that goes on in the winter as well. So absolutely, I can talk about it at any time. And whenever there's some so for instance, here's Friday morning, that same system that's going to dive through Utah moves into Arizona. So Friday is not a good day to go to the Grand Canyon at all because it's going to be snowing pretty good. And it's a big hole. You don't want to fall in that. You don't want to slip. I'm always amazed at some of the pictures of Angels Landing at Zion National Park when people are hiking it when it's covered in snow. Brave people. A lot of new people on the live stream. Thank you so much for joining this morning. I have about 5 minutes left before I have to run. But if you have any final questions, post those in the comments below. If you are finding us for the first time, welcome to the live stream. I'm meteorologist Jonathan Kegges. Please consider subscribing if you love talking and tracking the weather. At the very least, again, if you're joining the conversation, give it a thumbs up. It helps YouTube push it out as well. Hey, thanks. I appreciate that. Love your name as well. Good stuff. Thank you very, very much. I don't know if blow up is the right word, but it does. This is on Friday, and again, we have kind of one low pressure transferring to another low. This is the new developing low, which sends some moisture back into the St. John's area, right up in here. And all that stuff. So that's going to continue to kind of blow on out. And then you're going to have another shot, but that one might be rain. I think the secondary one is rain. And then the third one might be a little bit of a mix. So it is going to turn stormy in the Northeast. Like if you're joining from the Northeast, I do think we're going to get back into a stormy pattern. California has stolen all of the headlines in terms of the inclement weather. And then, of course, the Deep South with the severe weather. That's all intertwined in the very active jet stream that has just blasted California over the past 3 or 4 weeks. The pattern is changing, though, and now it's going to send storms back to the Northeast. The question is there going to be enough cold? That's going to be the focus, again, on this channel for the next, really several days to the next week, because I do think shortly thereafter we are going to lose winter in the Northeast, and then it really shapes and focuses back towards Minnesota, Montana, the Dakotas as well. I'm trying to remember the last time that there were blizzard warnings on the coast. It's been a while. But yeah, those storms are gnarly. I have not been there. Those are certainly, though, on the list. That sounds like a great trip. Good time of year to go as well. That'll be awesome. That would be fantastic. All right, so we're going to take one final look. That snow from yesterday, the kind of like blasted parts of, I use blasted loosely, Cape Cod. It's raining now in Boston. We have some heavy rain now in Buffalo, Lockport, New York. Nice and quiet through Ohio, though. Indiana, here is our mess. Look at all of that heavy rain. Still through the 44 corridor. St. Louis to Springfield, yikes. Again, nothing severe, nothing strong, nothing damaging out there, just some really heavy rain. Wichita, very heavy stuff. And then there is our heavy snow falling through parts of Nebraska. That expands toward Minnesota, in Iowa, in Wisconsin tonight and into tomorrow. And then it's going to kind of go across interior New England on Friday, also impacting parts of the Canadian Maritimes, Toronto as well. Alrighty, guys, I have to run. Thank you a ton for joining. If you are interested in keeping up with some of the crazy weather that's coming into the Northeast, or if you just love talking and tracking the weather and this next blast of cold that's coming east of the Rockies, which should be here early next week, hit subscribe. We would love to have you. I love getting your weather reports. They're vital here to kind of getting out the weather information to get that ground truth of what the forecast that I put out do. So that's very, very helpful. So again, if you do love talking about the weather, if you do love tracking the weather, please consider subscribing. Hit the thumbs up button as well. Again, if you're just joining us and finding us for the first time, I'm meteorologist Jonathan Kegges. I hope you have a great day. Again, stay safe in the Deep South. Stay weather aware today. Severe weather threat not as high as where it's been, but there's still a threat there. So again, pay attention and just stay weather aware again, and then be safe driving in Colorado, Nebraska, South Dakota, Kansas. Hey, Allie, good to see you. It might just be rain for you. It might just be rain. There's going to be 2 storms, but I don't know if we can stay cold enough for just snow. I don't know. Especially the first one. I think the first one's going to be rain. The second one's at least a little better shot for some snow, which I know you don't like, so fingers crossed. Hope you have a good day as well. Enjoy the snow that is eventually coming to South Dakota. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Great chat again this morning. Thank you for finding the live stream and joining it. Again, subscribe. Hit that thumbs up button. I appreciate you guys a ton. We'll catch you next time. Next update is going to be tomorrow, next video update, and it's going to be on the end of this storm here. It's going to be the end of this storm here, and then we're going to talk about the active pattern, that shot for some snow in parts of the Northeast. Okay, one last thing. If you stay with me long enough, you'll know that whenever I say I'm heading off, I never head off. So we're going to check out Hornersville real quick. Zoom back into and right now we have some really, really heavy rain on the west side of the Mississippi. So just keep that in mind. Allie's rooting for some rain with this. Love it. Alrighty, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday. We'll catch you next time. Check out those next videos. They'll be coming tomorrow. Appreciate you all. Have a great day.